All right. Welcome, everyone. Sound check, recording check. There we go. Don't quit my day job. Watch your Monday hometown from what I can make out. Um, all right. There we go. So, Richard, I'll say a few words about automatic income later, and we'll go from there. So, sound check, screen check, and recording checks are done. Remember the risk warning. All trading involves a very substantial risk of loss. Yesterday was leg day, and my legs are tired. It is not necessarily the case that if we show something that worked in the past, that it will work in the future. In a lot of cases, it'll actually be the opposite. Even though something worked in the past, it may not work in the future. My job is to show you what has worked for me in the past and what I am doing right now. And your job is to study, learn to plan, and take your own trades. And if you require personal financial advice, you should consult with your personal financial advisor. I have been working on this incremental improvement perfect trades checklist, and I'm very happy with where we're going with this. It should be ready by the end of this weekend. I want to encourage you to get on the Telegram channel. That's at robbiebooker.com/telegram. That Telegram channel is a way for us to, for you to stay in touch with what we're doing. Polly, I'd be happy to look at that when it comes time to make a request. Get ready to type that in. Everyone, in about 2 minutes, I'm going to ask you what charts you want to look at, and be ready to tell me. Don't tell me now, but be ready to tell me in a couple of minutes here. The SMS updates list is at robbiebooker.com/SMS-coach. You can get the slides at robbiebooker.com/0120. I have great news about the indicators. TradingView.com is gearing up. I have pestered them now for a month. They are most likely going to release all of my indicators for free, the way that they're programmed, that you see them on my charts. Like the good versions could soon become standard indicators on the platform, which makes it awesome. And this has been a lot of negotiation back and forth, and it makes me really excited. Okay, I want to talk to you about automatic income. This is the 4 billion emails that you received about me going back to my dad's hometown and teaching people how to trade. That is income credit spreads. They're not naked options. And you already have access to the first couple of reports. The next one comes out on Sunday, and I will release that to you here inside of our webinar on Monday morning. And you don't need to do anything. You're all good to go. It is January 8th, 2020. We had some hiccups along the way in giving everyone access. You should receive access to what is called the $100 challenge in your email today. You should be able to log into the website, or the next time you log into your membership portal, you should see the $100 challenge. This is the class that helps you get set up with the robots. You know, since things kind of settled down overnight, we should be able to turn the robots on very soon. So we will be doing that together. It is now time for you to let me know what charts you would like to look at. PSXP. Let's see here. Wells Fargo, PSXP. You will not receive an email until about 2 p.m. today, probably. EWZ, you got it. That's Brazil. I love it. Ovid, you got it. I think we talked about that yesterday. I don't think Taco is a real stock. Is that a real stock? And, okay, there we go. Let's get going. This is craziness, my friends. The market will just shrug every single problematic thing off. I still own the 17th of January $13 calls. I really thought they would be worth $2 this week. And so Iran bombs a U.S. military facility in Iraq or whatever. And apparently it doesn't matter. This bull market is crazy. One thing I have to keep in mind is the same thing that we have talked about now several times. And I'll just draw it here on the screen so that we have a reminder of this. So here's what happened. The central banks of the world made this offer to buy all the debt on the books of the banks. And what happened was they ended up giving cash to those banks, just billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of cash. And then those banks gave that money to high net worth individuals and hedge funds. And so the world is just awash in cash. There is just so much money everywhere. It's all over the place. It's astounding. The amount of money that is floating around the world is astounding. And what's going to eventually happen is interest rates will rise and credit standards will tighten and the cash won't be there anymore. So even though banks will have the cash, they won't lend it. And when that happens, the stock markets of the world are going to come crashing down. In the meantime, every once in a while, there will be some kind of one-off 48-hour long surprise to the markets, some kind of unfortunate attack or some kind of election news that will send the markets into panic mode for about 24 to 48 hours. This is almost what happened this week. It didn't quite happen. I suspect that today we will hear some kind of Twitter response from the president, and there may be some volatility that is thrown into the market. But as of right now, I would consider the movement that you see right here on the charts in front of us, this UVXY movement that we are looking at, I would consider this sideways. I would not consider this bearish or bullish today, even though it's not going in exactly the right direction. I would not consider this a bearish response to anything. I would just consider this floating around sideways. It's not bearish until we break below $12, which of course could certainly happen today, and I would throw my computer against the wall, but it's not bearish yet. I'm not concerned that this movement looks bearish. I would consider that everything is going sideways and this is good for us. This is what is happening right now. Right now, you are looking at a very, very mild inverted head and shoulders pattern being created. And it's not even really, I don't even know if it's a real one, but like shoulder, head, shoulder, and then maybe up. It's not really a pattern, but we are kind of rounding out here at the bottom. And I usually call that class A divergence, when we get bullish divergence and then we round out. There's like a bowl-shaped pattern at the bottom, and we are getting that, and we are going sideways. However, if we move below $12, then this is garbage, and it's done, and I don't have anything else to say except for I'll get it. And when I get it, I'm going to crush it, and we're going to just, we're going to throw down on this one. The president's going to speak in about an hour and a half on the Iran situation. I'm not opposed right now. I'm not opposed to buying $8,000 worth of UVXY. It's not entirely outside the realm of possibility. I am not encouraging you to do anything dangerous. I am not encouraging you to lose any substantial amount of money. We are not gambling. Let's say I did right now jump into Robinhood and spend $8,000 on $13 calls that expire in, let's say, March or whatever, February, March, or April. Let's say I did that. If they lost $1,000 of value, I would close them. Are we clear? Meaning, even if I spent a substantial amount of money on those options, I would close them if they went bad. Okay? So I just want to make that really clear. Let's take a look. It's worth looking at, okay? It's worth considering. Most of us already have some of these options in our trading. And the trade hasn't come yet. Remember, we do not have a perfect trade on UVXY. We have the bullish divergence. We do not have the bullish profit circle on the 4-hour chart. So whatever we're doing here is jumping the gun, and I'm just looking at the $13 March 20th. So 30 of those costs $7,050. And if those lost $1,000, I would throw them in the garbage and lose the $1,000. It's a possibility. That's a real. That feels to me like a rolling of the dice, doesn't it to you? Like we don't have a perfect trade setup, and so I have to talk about it, and you have to watch me go through the motion of thinking about it, discussing it, and then passing on it, because it's just not a setup, right? And as much as we'd love to, what do you want to do? Like play roulette here or whatever else. It's just not suitable. It's not appropriate. The VIX since August is a perfect falling triangle. Technically, it would need to get out of the triangle to spike. Exactly. Mark, you're just right on. It just isn't ready yet. It's not ready yet. Sue, if I lost $1,000, I would be losing 0.5% of my total available trading capital, and an insignificant portion of my total available capital in my life. So if I lost $1,000, remember, it's not about how much I spend on the trade. It's about how much I'm willing to lose if it goes wrong. And so, Sue, if I said, all right, I'm going to close it if I lose $1,000, that's a very, very small percentage of my total available trading capital. Okay. I don't trade futures. I mean, I'm not opposed to trading futures. I think futures are great. We could always look at any futures contract you want to look at, and all of the same principles apply to what we're going to do. Okay, I want to look at gold because, after all this talk of, UVXY, what the real story is gold. I mean, we're up again, and this is not going sideways, right? This is the opposite of sideways. This is a rocket ship. It's crazy. There's the daily chart. This is gold, the ETF. We can look at gold futures. Why don't we look at gold futures? Let's do it. Gold futures have created the world's greatest Morningstar doji emoji, which is a hammer mixed with a doji, right? I mean, if you were ever going to short gold, would this not be the time to do it? You would wait, of course, for a confirmation candle to do that. I mean, isn't it possible that whatever the president says encourages the market? Isn't it possible? Isn't it theoretically possible that what happens instead of a bear market or a negative response to it is possible? It's just not a great idea to try to bet on the response that the market has to what the president has to say. If there were ever a perfect doji on an RSI that is ridiculously overbought, if there were ever a moment, now would be that moment. If I were long gold right now, I would be willing to lose 0 of my profit, meaning I would want to protect my profit, or I would just take the money and run. I would Steve Miller band it. Yes, it can go higher. It could go much higher. Gold could go to 1,700 today. Gold could go to 2,000 today. But I would want to protect it. Let's say I got in at 1531 or 1541. I'd want to get, if gold futures dropped to 1540, I'd want to close any trades I had. I can't say this any more specifically than I've already said it 1,000 times. There are moments in time where you just have to move your stop to protect your profit or ensure that you don't lose money if things change directions. This is gold futures GC. This is the sweetest daily doji that I have seen in a long time. I'd be closing longs or moving stops to protect profit. There you go. The president will move the market. I think you have to account for the scenario in which the president's comments send the market higher, where he goes blah 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 blah, and then everybody gets just super giantly thrilled about everything that he said. You have to at least allow for the possibility that that happens. RSX is next. I got to put that on my little. Can I move my table up a little bit if I can? There we go. All right, RSX. Makes it easier for me to talk into the microphone. Wow, popped up this morning. Yeah, I mean, I'm in this unless it goes above $26. I have nothing interesting to say about RSX. I'm not even going to put it in the slides. I have nothing to say about RSX except for I own the May $25 puts. I paid $1.07 for those, and I think they'll be worth $2 at least in May. If this goes to $26, I'm closing my trade. I bought the AER 21st of February $60 puts for $1.40. Let's look at AER. Looking pretty nice. It's got a bearish profit circle after the bearish divergence you see on the left side of the chart. I'm thrilled to be a part of this position. Outside of all the other conversations about the market that we had, this is a company with bad fundamentals, probably good management. I'm sure they're good people. I'm sure they're experienced managers. It's the largest aircraft leasing company in the world. And technically speaking, the trade looks like it's going to fall. And fundamentally speaking, the company has too much debt. This is what I didn't like about Ferrari. And it's what I don't like about this company either. Also, if there is any indication that credit standards tighten, this company goes essentially bankrupt. I just can't emphasize that enough. This company is one downgrade away from junk status, meaning they won't be able to roll over their debt at a price they can afford. So there's no room for credit standards to tighten. That's not a good place to be in. You always want to bet on chaos. You don't want to make your bets on stability at a time like this. Not with a company with this much debt. You don't want to they don't ever have to answer for their reckless borrowing. Sue says, with Boeing planes being pulled from the airlines, won't they need to lease other types of aircraft to cover the pulled Boeing jets? So, Sue, that's a great question about AER. AER only owns 5 737 Maxes. They don't own very many of them. Their exposure to the Boeing garbage plane is very minimal. It's kind of interesting. I looked into that as well. They made a big stink about this recently. They were like, oh, we don't really own very many of those. I think they canceled all the orders they had for them. And so whatever happened to Boeing affected Boeing more than it did AER. Alan says, does protecting longs apply to the jump trade gold positions? They would apply, in my opinion, to any gold positions from any service, place, or time. LaDonna says, I was in the AER trade and got out earlier. Good. First of all, good. You probably took a small loss, and that's smart. And would now be the time to get back in. Now's the time for me to get back in. I can speak to my own situation. I can't give you personal, specific financial advice for your particular situation, but I can tell you this was the right time for me to get back in. Now, I have the $60 puts that expire in February. That means it only has to fall a couple of dollars, and I think it's going to fall to $4, $5, $6, and I can put a stop loss above 62. So if price goes above 62, if the price of the stock rises above 62, then I don't have to be a part of this. I can dump it, and I can take a small loss again. And eventually, like I said, eventually it catches up to you, meaning this company borrowing recklessly, eventually this will be a problem for them. PSXP. Boy, it is hard to type and sit in front of the microphone at the same time. I'm not complaining. I'm just telling you. EWZ. Let's move on. I don't like having a lot of trades. I don't want to have too many trades. Ovid. I don't think I have anything more to say about Ovid, but we're going to look at it for you. So I might not actually publish the chart. Taco. It's Taco Tuesday, but still on a Friday. All right. Let's look at EWI. EWI. That's Italy. I think it's going to fall. Still waiting for a bearish profit circle. Got nothing extra to say about that. EWY, South Korea. I think trade war with Japan, slowing world economy potentially. Bearish this, but there's no setup. There's no bearish profit circle. There's no way to get into that trade. It's not ready. It's not going to happen yet for me. So it's just not a thing. Let's look at PSXP. I don't know what this company is. Phillips 66 oil company. Well, oil's doing really well. Hard to bet against oil right now. I don't like trading any of our setups on energy. It doesn't mean I won't do it. I will do it. But I don't like to do it. This is bearish divergent, but it has no bearish profit circle. So what I would do if I were considering this for myself, first of all, I would want there to be no conflict in Iran, first of all, and I would want there to be a bearish profit circle. Before I would short this, I would wait for a bearish profit circle and wait for conflict in the Middle East to slow down. Like there's a lot of value. Excuse me. There is plenty of room for the market to go up. Sure. But there are no great entries right now. Like you wouldn't buy PSXP right here. That would be ridiculous. The time to buy PSXP was back when there was a bullish profit circle and you loved the stock back in late November. Let's look at Brazil real quick. Okay, so if we got a bearish profit circle, Brazil's a sell. Period. Technically speaking. I'd look at just making sure I get the right chart posted. I'd look at the $47 puts that expire no earlier than March. That's what I would look for. Yeah, I think oil's ready for a pullback, but you know. All right, so we also had a request for Ovid. I talked about this yesterday. I don't have anything else to say about this other than I would be done with this trade. If I were long this trade and profitable, I'd be done with it. If I were long this trade and profitable and didn't care, I would keep it. If I didn't have a trade on this on this stock, I wouldn't trade it at all. So first of all, if I were long and I had some money, I'd probably take it. If I didn't have a trade on this stock at all, I wouldn't take one. That's pretty much how I feel about Ovid. Somebody asked for SPR. Spirit. Okay, Spirit Airline. Is that Spirit Aerosystems? So I guess Spirit Aerosystems makes the plane. I would. I feel terrible about this. Yeah, I mean, you're looking now at a fundamental story that you can't come back from. So you can't trade this on technicals. It's probably got a lot of room to fall, right? So would I comment about Axis? Sure. Now it's a petroleum company. Once again, not really super thrilled about energy stocks, but that looks pretty bullish. The time to buy it was back at the bullish profit circle at about 28 cents. It's at 39 cents now. Probably a lot more room for this stock to go up if it is profitable. If this company makes money, then good. If this company makes money, it's going to 78 cents. If this company is not a profitable company, then it's been a fun ride. Let's look at it. Let's look at the financials. Undervalued. Statistics. Yeah, it's got profits. It has 74 cents for every dollar of short-term debt. That's not great. It's got $7 million in the bank. Total cash. Total debt's 201 million. But the short-term debt's probably much less. Book value of shares $1.03. So it's a buy. Yeah. I mean, it's an energy stock, so like keep that in mind. It won't always go the direction that you want it to go right away. It might be subject to other stuff. I like it though. I like the trade. I'm if I weren't in a buy, I'd be willing to be in a buy. If I found out that insiders were also buying the stock, which I bet you're going to tell me they are, then I would be thrilled with that. SNR, stock's bearish. Grec, bearish profit circle. I would just be out of my mind happy to sell this. YCS, ultra short yen. This is a tough one. There's not enough volume in this. I'm going to just take a look at it for you, but don't really have anything to say about the yen. But once again, when the stock market is up, the yen is down. This looks really bullish right here. I mean, it looks really bullish. It doesn't mean anything, though. I mean, the pound yen could fall from here on a head and shoulders pattern. If the stock market drops, the yen gets really strong, and the pound yen and dollar yen fall. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you take a trade betting on the Trump speech, you have a 90% chance of being wrong. Just remember that. So it's not a good way to take trades. It's a terrible way to manage your money. It's a total mistake. And so Trump's presentation or whatever it is has the potential to move the market a ton, but it could also just be a complete fail and not do anything to the markets at all. And so we don't want to stop everything we're doing and plan a bunch of trades around Trump's speech because we have no idea what he's going to say. And whatever he does say might have the opposite effect than what we think. And if you are in a trade at the time, it's like arguing at the television screen when you've bet on sports. So we don't bet on sports, and we don't bet on Trump speeches. And so we don't. So as a comment on that, it's like we don't want to fade any move based on his speech. We don't want to. We don't want to use his. That's short term trading. That is betting. Now, short term trading is fine if you have a consistent methodology that you use. You could even have a consistent methodology, which we do have, where you fade the move after the Australian interest rate decision, because there have been hundreds, even thousands of Australian interest rate decisions. We can back that up with testing. There haven't been any Trump speeches about Iran. There's no way to test that fading Trump's speech works. There's no way to do that. If you are even remotely considering doing anything about Trump's speech, turn off your computer, sit on your hands, and come back tomorrow. And even if you got it right, it wouldn't be an excuse for having done it. It's like saying if you light your neighbor's house on fire, there's a chance that your neighbor will pay you half of the insurance payout. You just wouldn't do it. But we don't think about it because it's not like setting a thing on fire and no one has to see it and no one has to know. And so we do a lot of things in private in our trading accounts that we would never do publicly. If you had to put a billboard out in front of your house and say, I'm making a big bet on Trump's speech in the financial markets, or if you wore a t-shirt that said that, it would change the way that we probably thought about things. Richard says, once we have access to Knoxville Divergence, can we see a screen of stuff that printed? No, TradingView won't do a screen. They can't do that. Yeah, we don't really do that. So what we do, Richard, is what that would do is you would end up with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of possible trades. And so what we do is we keep our little universe kind of more focused and maybe slowly increase it based on which financial instruments do a great job of following through on movement that we might expect. Sue says that you thought I might say that. Okay, so what are my settings on the indicators? 30, 21, and 20 on the Knoxville Divergence. Okay, I'm going to just check the screen here. Ovid, I already kind of talked about that. Taco, we didn't look at Taco yet. We got to do that. Taco time. Del Taco. Doom. Think outside the bell. Looks bullish. Don't have much to say about that. Are insiders buying this? If they are, then it's super bullish. Is the company profitable? If it is, super bullish. But the time to buy it, was not far from this price. Yeah, it's a nice trade. If the company makes money and if insiders are buying it, if the fundamentals are good, this is technically a brilliant looking setup. It's brilliant. I don't know where you found this one or why you found this one. It's brilliant. It's a lovely looking chart. It's going to go into our slides. It's that beautiful looking. I'm going to look more into the fundamentals before I do anything. But I would, yeah, I love it. And then I just need to drop the correct chart on the screen. Okay, we bought Wells Fargo puts. You can see those. You can see Wells Fargo right now. It's up today. That's fine. It doesn't really change anything about the way that I think. It's got just a billion bearish profit circles. That's fine. If it has to go up before it goes down, I'm fine with that. And then IBB, we bought the March 20th puts. Yeah, this is the biotechnology ETF. I like the 20th of March, $118 puts for $4.20. If it rises above $123, I'm closing that trade and just calling it quits on that one. And then last of all, pound yen. Nothing has happened. There's zero 0% interesting to me. I'm still short the pound yen, and I'm not changing that. All right. What about the bearish profit circle on Taco? I would ignore it. Without bearish divergence and a trend and multiple missed pivots below it, Richard, I would ignore it. So there's a bunch of questions about this. Let's look at it. Look at this. So there are not a lot of. This is the 4-hour chart. The 60-minute chart, you were probably looking at the 60-minute chart, had some bearish signals on it. Look at the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart, the majority of the missed pivot levels are above. We had bullish divergence and a bullish profit circle. The company is making money, so the fundamentals are good. And we do have some missed weekly and monthly pivots below. And that's fine, and that'll come in handy later on. But it's not really coming in handy right now. And we really don't have any bearish indicators on the 4-hour chart on Taco. We don't really have that. It's not really there. So for all of those reasons, I like the buy side more than I like the sell side. I apologize that I was showing the 60-minute chart. Harry John Griffin says you can't get Yahoo Finance statistics without a premium account, and I do have one. And if you don't, you could use FinViz, or I don't know what else you could use, but I'm sure there's plenty of other free versions that you could use to get similar statistics. Yahoo, Google Finance probably as well. And I don't use the daily chart, Sue. I just use the 4-hour because I got to focus, right? Because if I use too many different charts, I could really get myself in trouble. But it's also a perfect setup on the daily. And just because it's a perfect setup on the daily doesn't mean it's going to move right away. There was a perfect setup on the daily chart in November of 2018, and it took until July of 2019 for that to follow through, really. But, it is a pretty consistently awesome signal provider here if you get the divergence and the profit circle. It's pretty consistent. There's no guarantees, of course, and I wouldn't risk any substantial amount of money, but I like the way it looks. You're going to like the way you look. That's that Men's Warehouse guy. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow, everybody.